Welcome everyone. What's up, Lil Bean 98? Thank you for being our 100th follower. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Nice way to start the stream. Let's see. We've got footage from this past Monday, Nogi footage, and this week we're working on leg attacks and defense. So I'm sure, it's not like you guys ever avoid those anyway. What's up, Steven?
It's happening.
Lil Bean, are you one of our students, or are you just a curious guy who found us? Let's see. I knew it. I knew it. All right.
Thanks for the follow, Caleb.
Yeah, thanks for the second follow. No, glad you're here, bud. I know work always gets in the way, so. Got Daniel and Luke. Someone's got to. And then it looks like Joe and Cole in the back there. Rush and I behind Daniel and Luke. Trying not to get squished. Big heavy sprawl from Daniel. What's up, Joe? Then we got Pat and I think Kyle on the side. Yeah.
Is that you and Rush? Did you call that out, you and Rush?
Yeah, up behind the pillar, of course. We had a great roll. It's a fun one. Duncan and Brandon skipping onto the street.
And I feel like you're trying to sit through or trying to grab that knee. I know it's hard behind the pillar, but yeah, you were trying to go for the leg, huh?
Oh yeah, so Rush got behind me. Right? Was it here?
Right here. He kind of uses an arm drag, like the arm drag to an arm drag.
Yeah, he got behind me and told me after that he was trying to work some of the takedowns from the rear that we had gone over a few weeks ago, which I had a feeling he was, so I was trying to reach through on the knee bar and enter into the legs before he could take me down. But that failed, and he gets into a body lock here.
Duncan hits a go behind here, and then Brandon's trying to shut it down.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm going to go back a little bit. I think Luke and Daniel had something. Oh, okay. I guess they moved from the pillar. That's what it was. So Luke's in on a Kimura right now on Daniel. Daniel should have said, no, we're staying right by the pillar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Duncan with the arm drag, trying to cut the angle here. Almost gets there. Yeah, good. Stays on him. I guess Daniel got his arm free.
Yeah, because he sat through.
Yeah.
And who's Steven working with again? In the top?
That's Cole and Joe underneath the TV.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Steven's on the side there.
Oh, okay.
Drinking water, not grappling,
and
useless. Probably left that water bottle sitting around too. All right, I feel like I'm trying to split my vision between too many people. Let's look at Duncan and Brandon.
That's what I was thinking.
It's weird because you're kind of like right between Joe and Cole, I think, weight-wise. I don't know, unless you've been losing weight. Steven's like sneaky heavy. Like he doesn't look like a heavy guy, and he's like, yeah, I'm 180 pounds or something. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Where the hell are you hiding it? He's got lead weights in his stomach, like those those fish. I don't know if you saw. Did you see that viral video of like the guys who stuffed
Yes.
their fish in the competition? This isn't a fishing show. Why are we talking about that? So Duncan going for this like chair sit style back take.
I like that. Brandon's getting a little bit of misalignment, but Duncan's doing his best to try and keep it. I'd like to see him trying to square up a little bit more, but I don't think it's hurting him necessarily right now. And then the body triangle is going to help square him up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Brandon had an opportunity here to like continue, like if he had switched his legs here, like brought his right knee down, left knee over, or I'm sorry, left knee down, right knee over. I feel like he may have been able to switch out of this because, I mean, I'm seeing a little bit of space under Duncan's knee here, and they're already a little, like you said, they are already a little bit misaligned. On top of that, Duncan's strangle arm is on top, which isn't going to be that's not going to prohibit Brandon from turning to his left. It would have to be a good connection of the leg, and that connection might be a little suspect right now. So gotta work on that awareness a bit. But good on Duncan here for adjusting to the triangle.
So, and also good on Brandon. Look what Brandon's trying to do here.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That is really cool. I mean, he's I know you've taught this escape before, but you know, ultimately he's trying to get that crossed leg across his body, right? Like he wants the legs in a full crisscross pattern in order to weaken the body triangle, in which Duncan relinquished, and now he's just fighting two hooks.
Yeah.
Brandon, I do want to see you like starting to escape from the bottom here once you have the top secure. There you go. That was a good step. Now the right leg needs to come up and over that hook, and he is pretty much out.
Duncan's doing a good job of making him earn it.
He's got a threat on that strangle, which is what's keeping Brandon busy.
Yeah. I just got headbutted by Daniel. like real Daniel like leans over Luke and just crashes right into my head. Steven and Jason have entered the chat. So Duncan's doing great here. Gonna have to start getting, like, I feel like the next step for him from this position is going to be learning the hand fight and how to maximize this. So, man, that looked close. It almost looked like he was under Brandon's chin here. I guess he wasn't, or Brandon wasn't worried enough about it. See, like right there, it looks like Brandon. I guess I don't know. Either way, working on the hand fight for Duncan will definitely help with the strangle finishes from the back. I want to go back to Luke and Daniel here, because they were in this like rear crucifix. Let's see what they did with this. Okay. Duncan a little slow on that double ankle sweep, but noticed his legs weren't pinched. Brandon's legs weren't pinched together. I just want to see that. What was that?
And then he followed him back up on top, but slowly.
Yeah. I just want to see that reaction time get a little closer together. Like if you're gonna do that sweep, you need to be doing it with the intention of sitting up, not the, oh hey, look what I can do.
Right.
gonna hide here for a second because we got Kyle and Pat down here. Good work from Pat. Let's go back a second. So Kyle's in this. He's in top half guard. Let's see.
With a low knee shield, so this would be like the K guard, right?
Yeah, I guess.
And then Pat goes into a deep half, swims up underneath the leg.
Pat doing a really good job using his legs to shift Kyle's weight around. And like you could see Pat scooching his hips underneath Kyle's center of gravity to get that sweep. Right at the bell too. For Kyle, so like top half guard is a great spot to be for passing, for leg entrances, you know, a number of reasons. Your next intention here, like, you're gonna have to work on. I want you to work on getting around the knee shield. These are like broad goals, but getting around the knee shield, establishing that top underhook, and working to a chest to chest position, right, where you can give Pat a lot of top pressure, pinning him, and then working to get your leg free, right? And that starts with getting your knee free and then getting your ankle free. And there are endless ways to do all of those things. But it looks like here, just from this, you're dealing with Pat's clamp that he has on the leg. I don't see too much of an effort getting like an underhook position. So just some tactical things to think about when you're in top half guard and trying to pass. And yeah, nice movement from Pat.
Looks like Duncan's passing along some knowledge of pinching the knees. That was going back to what you were saying.
Good stuff.
That double ankle sweep.
Oh, and up here in the corner, I'm rolling with Jordan. Jordan's his name,
Jordan.
the
All right.
guy we saw on the stream the other day.
Yep. So now we got Duncan, and Daniel, Caleb and Veronica, Rush, and Steven.
Caleb laying on some excellent top pressure here, keeping Ronnie looking away while he passes around. And he has the far side underhook. Daniel staying vigilant on that body fold attempt.
Yep.
Duncan running through. Duncan, if you turned the other way there as you came out, maybe you would have been able to take the back, or at least attempt to take the back.
He shot his right arm through to escape.
Yeah, I don't know. Daniel had the angle on him, so maybe not. Ooh, sick fireman's carry.
That was awesome.
Let's look at that in slow-mo. So Daniel sets up this overhook on the same side that his head is. Creates a little bit of space. Nice drop.
So did you call out the head pressure that he was throwing, like the head and the chin? Boom.
Yeah.
Right there. Now what's Duncan got to do? Duncan, in order to combat that, he's either got to back out of it or he's going to give him, he's going to give him pressure in.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as Daniel lowers his level, Duncan's head goes right over top of his head, and then Daniel just keeps it going. There it is.
Yeah, and further to your point, Duncan's gonna have a hell of a time just trying to like disengage here with that overhook that Daniel's got. Like he's not gonna be able to just pull that arm out. Very nice.
Yeah, that was slick. I like that a lot.
And that's also, you know, a higher risk sort of takedown. Like you're going to a kneeling position, you're exposing your back. You better have a solid connection when you do it, which Daniel did. He had checked all the boxes for sure going into that. Joe and Brandon.
Turn the ship's wheel. I like it. That was good. So Uchi, it was kind of like an Uchimata. I don't know what the real throw would be.
Yeah, I mean, without the good. I think that would be like an Ogoshi or something like that. I don't know. It's a hip throw of some sort. But Joe, if you're looking for an Uchimata or just like something a little bit either a higher magnitude or, you know, whatever, like foot position, first thing I want to look at here. So that front foot a little bit forward. On throws like this, you kind of have to commit yourself to being under your opponent. So you want to close that distance, and then this leg is going to, for an Uchimata, the hamstring is going to go up into the inside of Brandon's thigh and launch him, and you're gonna lower your level to get your hips underneath. Wasn't deep enough on the hips. Yeah. I mean, look, you got the takedown, right? And that's the important part. But you're gonna want to lower your level, spring up with your legs, take your head down as you lift your own leg. Your thigh does the lifting on his hips, and you could break his connection with the ground more easily. It's not just because it looks cool. You know, any good throw comes from your partner being off balance or completely disconnected from the ground. And Uchimata is a great option for that, and also fairly low risk. Again, you need good upper body connection to like mitigate any sort of risk of a back take. And then when you land really well here. You're pretty close to perpendicular, right? The more perpendicular, the closer you are to perpendicular, the less likely you're going to be re-rolled. If you landed your hips closer to his, then he could kind of keep the momentum going. So a good finish, still a good takedown. And then credit to Brandon, immediately establishing a knee elbow connection, getting a really solid frame here, and not just accepting an immediate guard pass. We'll see how Joe handles that. Duncan just took Daniel's back. Did I miss that? Oh, it must have been early on.
I think he was saying just go ahead and take his back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
Yeah. Couldn't quite get I was looking at Caleb and Veronica. Caleb couldn't quite get the turn that he wanted to, to the chair sit back take that we like to do here, but quickly gets back to the modified mount. Okay, and then he goes for the arm, and probably, I know Veronica's nursing a kind of like a sore shoulder, so that was probably shoulder pressure. It looked like a very deep arm bar.
Yeah, she was just tapping early. Caleb, for you, another good option should that chair sit style kind of fail for you. If you're dead set on taking the back, when you get up to this mount position or modified mount, You can also look for that like seated head and arm where instead of pulling her into your lap and then falling to your, in this case, your left side, get your butt on the ground, get your right leg, under her head and on top of her shoulder, cross your ankles, and just kind of pull her in tight and take the time to work from there. You can often pummel your legs into like revert or rear triangle positions, which that's just a whole nother like avenue for a bunch of good attacks. But yeah, it's a bit more of a controlled, I feel like a bit more of a controlled approach to the back take. And Joe gets the far side Americana. So, looked like Joe laid a lot of heavy pressure on here. I don't know why Brandon took his knee away there. I guess maybe Joe had started to isolate the far arm and Brandon was trying to like turn towards it.
Get onto that side to relieve the pressure.
Yeah, maybe. Because now, let's take him a little bit. There he goes. He gets it. And then Brandon, so you did a great job. In the beginning here, we called it out. You got taken down, but you immediately got to a pretty, safe guard spot. This is where you're going to need to work on regarding, going to a more full guard position. I don't mean necessarily closed guard. You could do open guard. You could do half guard. But sitting here holding Joe's weight, and Joe's going to be relentless with his forward pressure. You don't want to fight a battle of attrition there. Like, you want to start cutting your angle. You establish that frame. You use your free leg to like reverse shrimp away, or come in underneath him, or whatever guard you choose to play.
Yeah, it looked like you were putting on a good amount of pressure, and that when he took that leg away, it was a reprieve. He felt like he could breathe again.
He said he was grunting.
Yeah. I love the like from the get, you've got engagement with the hooks, Joe. That's really good. One thing to look out for though, Brandon's new at this style of guard passing, but he actually is setting up a flank here. Your left leg is in front of his right leg, so he has the ability to start flanking you on your left side, his right side. It's a, you do have good grips established here, but if think about if he was able to make a connection with your knees and start pushing your knees to his left, your right, it immediately sets up a flank. So when people are doing this type of a thing to you, unless you're actively pulling or setting up some sort of arm drag or heavy collar ties from this position, you're going to want to think about squaring your hips back up to theirs, or at least getting your right leg. You want to be in a similar stance, right, into his right leg forward, his right leg forward.
I like this little double arm pull.
Yep.
Just like, all right, let's get you on the ground. What's up, James? How you doing, man?
Hey, James.
Nice butterfly sweep.
Very nice. That's textbook. Good.
I like keeping. So he kept his leg in. Oh, Joe, if you could slip, yeah, cool. You slipped your right leg out. Like the fact that you had that leg in made it, impossible for Brandon to like lock up a guard, and now you go for an Americana on the other arm. Poor Brandon. I just more and more I admire Brandon's enthusiasm to learn and continue as we just switch sides on which arm to attack.
Coming around the back into the front headlock, very good transition. And goes to the back, and I like that.
It's like, all right, I've had each one of your arms. Now I'm going to try and get your neck. Nice.
Let's go.
Be careful on Saturday, bud. It's a competition training class, so
Yep.
make
You
sure
teaching
you tell
Saturday?
everyone. Huh?
Are you teaching Saturday?
Yeah. Yeah, just make sure you tell everybody that you're not competition training. Kyle with the takedown on Daniel. So hits this, I believe this
Oh.
would be a Kosoto Gari.
Soto. Yep.
Nice, good drive. Daniel not phased. Almost gets out to his ankle, but good on Kyle here, keeping heavy chest to chest pressure. And then we got Joe and Rush here. Is that? Yeah.
That was nice, Joe. Like nice speed pass.
Look at that footwork. Joe, you a boxer or something? What is this?
And so, Joe, this kind of goes back to what I was just saying about, you have to watch which leg someone is leading with. So Rush is doing a really good job here of matching you, right leg for right leg. But watch what happens when you start leading with your left. You start coming around and you are able to flank him because he's got his right leg out, and you start coming around onto his other side.
It's nice. I would start, if you can, Joe. As soon as you get around, you probably know what I'm about to say anyway. You get around here, I want you looking for that far side underhook.
Yep.
And Rush isn't going to just give it to you. Like, you're going to have to pummel it to win that inside position with your head as well as your arm against that frame, but that's good.
Pays you back.
It's probably also a good day to come back, James, because we're on legs. So, like, you missed back week, so you wouldn't be getting your neck strangled. I think we got Cole and Steven here too. We should probably watch out for these two. They're psychos. I want to see what Cole's working here.
Trying to go for a triangle, it looked like.
Oh, actually, real quick, before I lose it. So Kyle and Daniel. Daniel rolls to turtle. Kyle tries to take the back, doesn't get the hooks in, which Daniel takes full advantage of. Daniel does such a great job of leading his movement with his head. Like,
Yep.
I'm sure you and I both have told people how to bridge numerous times where we always tell them to look behind and up at like the imaginary line going out the top of their head.
Yep.
And Daniel just does it with every move. Like, it's the beginning of all of his mobility. Anyone who's rolled with him knows just how, like, it's damn near impossible to just keep him down, keep him in one place. And I mean, right there was just a good example of him leading his entire movement with his head. Cole's got double overhooks, it looks like. Steven jumping around, almost getting past. So if Cole takes that leg off the back, I only want to see the legs configured like that with a guillotine for you, Cole. Oh, Steven's so close to getting the pass. Good movement from Cole to get him over, though.
Reversal. Yep.
Some more chin to chest motion. My neck doesn't like, but I got cortisone side. Cool, man. I hope that helps. Yeah, Rush. Go ahead.
How did Rush get out? I didn't see it. I was watching Cole and Steven.
I don't know. Let's see.
Okay.
So all the way. So Joe ends up. Oh, all right. Looks like a little.
Half guard.
Joe.
Joe got a little antsy on it and was going to try and take him out, it looked like.
Yeah. And then Rush was.
He's got that underhook.
Good. Deep half.
Yep.
Sneaks out the back.
I really enjoy. I like this type of reversal here. It goes straight into a leg attack.
Yeah. Yeah, good eye, Joe, to see the knee bar attempt here. It looks like Rush gets his knee free, but man, like I always say, the fact that you guys are seeing this stuff, that's the beginning of your progress on it. So that's really good. Yeah, I mean, you know, he was fishing the same time you were making an adjustment. You can avoid that by staying up along the shoulder line and working, you know, positionally working from there. We could talk a bit more about some side control tactics you can work. Just like we talked about mount stuff the other day. You know, you want to have some goals once you get to side control. But yeah, Rush and I had some great rolls this day on Monday, and then I was so dead on Tuesday. I was like, man, Rush is like even better in gi, and I could I was half dead, and I'm like, I'm gonna play 100% defensive, and he just like subbed me like 3 times. I was like, I don't care, just end it. He does an amazing job, like just multiplying his pressure.
I gotta train with him in the gi.
Oh yeah, he's a different animal in the gi. It's a lot of fun. Daniel doing a great job wedging against Kyle's hips here, preventing Kyle from circling around while Daniel gets to north-south. And speaking of goals from these various positions, you know, a reason that Daniel might want to switch to north-south is perhaps Kyle's legs have been giving him trouble in regarding, so he opts to go to north-south. That opens up opportunities to work on digging for underhooks, which often leads to kimuras, which can lead to triangle variations or arm bars. Or yeah, right there. Daniel about sits in on an arm bar. In fact, it looked like... So Daniel gets up in a mount. Yeah, so it looks like Kyle made a little mistake there in getting his own elbow up pretty high, which Daniel took advantage of. Got his chest below the elbow and drove it up over Kyle's head. It's a weak spot to be. No foot sweep on Brandon. Look at Brandon's feet here real quick. Okay. Like Daniel got his eye poked or something. So I was in a weird spot here on Brandon. I had the shin pin on the near side arm, trying to pull up. Oh, I think I was trying to pull into a triangle and just try to shoehorn something in there that wasn't really an option. Good example of just getting tunnel vision on a move.
Good ankle pick though, wrestling up.
Yeah, I was so you know, I compliment Brandon a lot on like his progress class to class, but like, you know, his movement here is good. I'm staying, my hooks are staying real sticky on his legs, and you know, my counters here are kind of, you know, constant submission attacking, right? As I sit up, I catch his head low, I throw on a headlock. He has to address the headlock. That leaves his ankle wide open. I'm in a fairly I don't want to say an athletic position here, but like my left leg, my heel's pulled to my butt. I could stand up easily, so I see the opportunity to pick the ankle. Yes, like I pull my heel underneath my butt. That's what allows me to stand. And then come up on the ankle, ditch the head, and then just try to trip. And I'm doing some heavy digging on the far side arm to get an underhook. And then this is a little detail I'm trying to work on. You guys know, like as you pull the far side underhook up from side control, typically someone's going to work into like that dorsal Kimura position. And I think most times people just think, all right, knees clamp around the head. It's a good option. This is kind of a subtle move I make here is I try to pass his head off from my left knee, curl his head into his chest, and then I use my right knee on the side of his face to push his head so that he's turning and facing the ground. Then I clamp his head between my knees. It's, you know, you're not always going to get it, but I'm trying to control the way he's looking still in the same way we use shoulder pressure, you know, when we're maybe passing from half guard. You know, we try to make them look away. If they have a favorite side that they like to do elbow escapes from when you're mounting them, you try to get them looking in the other direction so that they can't turn in that direction. You can do the same thing from that dorsal Kimura position. Camden doesn't want to engage. Steven's being a bully. Nice. So you got to make a connection, Cam. Can't just run around a guard, unfortunately. Nice wrestling up from Steven. Good double. Caleb, what I said about rather than doing that chair sit, going to the seated head and arm, that's what I'm doing on Brandon here. Just kind of tie my ankles, and then I could decide what I want to do, how I want to work. I could still take the back if I want, but then I think I opt here to try to enter in on the rear triangle. Yes, I can. So in mount, work to get, in this case, couldn't get underhooks, but could get like a gift wrap or an arm wrap. Do same moves, right? I slide my knee up behind his head or really close to it. Still sit to my butt, lean over my left just to get my leg out. And then now I just sit, cross my ankles. I keep that figure four. I have like a figure four arm wrap, not just using one hand. My left arm here is kind of always in a good position. Should I want to go to like a Kimura or something, or it makes it easier to pull the arm over the head too, like I'm trying to do here. That just tells me I'm probably trying to go for the reverse, the rear triangle. Keep messing that up. But that's the idea. We can go over that at class too. I also want to give props to Camden here. I don't know how many times I've yelled at him watching this stream for like trying to bring his legs over the back to like do that mount escape, you know, where you wrap your legs around somebody from the back and then try to take them down. The whole time here, he's been framing Steven's hips. He was even trying to kip escape here a second ago. I saw him jumping his legs into it. You know, nothing major, getting there. So Steven's a little high right now, like he's not putting on heavy chest pressure. But yeah, that's much better than some of those other techniques we've seen him trying to use. So good job, Cam. Kalo's attacking the shit out of Rush's leg here. Actually, let's see how he gets there.
Nice. From a mount attempt from Rush.
Yeah. Yeah, keeping that distance with the framing on the hips. Uh-oh, Steven's in trouble. Camden's revenge.
I was wondering if he was going to try and do that to him. Okay.
In time. Good round. Active round.
Nice sweep, Cole.
Yeah. I feel like Duncan didn't try too hard to fight that one off. I don't know why. All right, let me go back with Cole here a second. So he's giving him some nasty face pressure here with his chest. Digging on the underhook. Secures it. Knee up high, good. So you don't need to bring that leg. I don't know. What do you think? I don't think that leg move needed to be made. Certainly not on that side where Duncan has his elbow down.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you're gonna do that, I mean that's a move you're gonna make for a triangle, right? A mounted triangle, which isn't an option right now since Duncan has both arms in.
I mean, so I think it's okay. Like I think it's okay if you're gonna try and go for an S mount. But I would want to see Cole's left knee up higher. You know, like I'd like to see the arms up much higher, for him to go for that traditional S mount.
Yeah, and I agree. I would just want to see an underhook on this arm as well before moving that arm up. Like, yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say I do use my legs sometimes to do this. It depends on how, but yeah, I mean, so I guess you're right. I think the right way to do it would be to just dig for the underhook and start working the arm up. I do use my legs in order to try and get the elbows up sometimes.
Sure.
Like that. You know, like Luke likes to do, grab the back of the head and then drive my knees up the body.
Yeah. True.
I use that tactic in some cases. Not all though.
But you are leading with your knee though when you do that, whereas Cole's like sitting around bringing the foot, not pushing with the knee.
You're right. Yes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That makes sense. Cole doing a little step over method here to get to this mounted triangle, or what I assume he's trying to go for.
I feel like he's trying with all his might to put as much chest to face pressure as possible.
Yeah, and I don't mind the dismount here either. Like, when what you've worked on is starting to unravel and you're running the risk of losing position, sometimes working back to a side control is a good option. If you can't, if you can't dig in on an underhook or something like that, like it's never a bad option, because like I don't know, I feel like getting the far side underhook from side control is an easier place to do it than when you're in mount trying to dig your hand under, lower your level, dig all the way through. Side control just lends itself a little bit better to that underhooking. Rush did a bang up job of getting me off balance here. I can feel him trying to work like a scissor sweep, so I'm trying to take care of that top leg, and then he just pulled his bottom leg, just pulled my ankle right out from underneath me.
Yep. Yeah, it was like you were trying to back step out of it or trying to pummel. Yeah, it was a good move by him. He's done something very similar to me.
Yeah, just trying to stay heavy on the head here, deny him any forward progress. For a second, I wanted to go on a Kimura. I don't think he was wise to that. So I'm just digging on a guillotine. How did Duncan and Cole get here? So Duncan regards, good regard, getting the knee in. Whenever I see Caleb like walking at me with purpose like that, I'm always nervous to just sit. I'm like, I'm just gonna get smashed now. Steven doesn't care though. So Cole needs to get Duncan's bottom leg, his right leg, off of him right now. So before Duncan made the switch, which I think Duncan should have made a little... Well, okay, that's why he couldn't, because Cole had the underhook. If Cole used his left hand here to try to post and get Duncan's leg out of the way, like even just a little bit so that Cole could like pummel his own leg over, I feel like Cole could have recovered this position, gotten to like half guard, and then worked from there. Good move from Duncan though.
Very nice, passing the arm over. Way to see that.
Builds character. Or breaks your character down completely. One or the other.
Or your floating rib.
Yeah.
Alright, Duncan, what are you going to do with this? Nice.
For what I'm super stoked you worked on that and got to this armbar. I don't want you to get comfortable, Duncan, with your leg position.
Yep.
Like, this is no real control over the head, which is going to be very important. There are some like variations we've seen out of like we haven't seen Gordon do it in a while. I think Eddie Cummings used it a lot in the past, but that like shoulder triangle, the shoulder senkaku that they do, that's the only variation of an armbar I could think of that doesn't have a cross face leg, you know, or at least most other leg configurations have a leg over the face. That's the only one that doesn't. So these two over the body, I think if Cole really wanted to work on slipping out of this, he may have been able to. He had a lot of options there, but get a leg over the face, Duncan. That's the main takeaway.
Yeah, we'll have to we'll tighten up some of the finishing mechanics and stuff Um, but yeah, it was at least it was you saw something there and you went for it. That was good.
Yeah. Rush almost had a good takedown on me here. He tried wrestling up. But I think part of the kryptonite to some of this, and not just for Rush, but for a lot of us, is as they come up, leaving the head on the outside, and dealing with the threat of the guillotine. Now Rush really has to worry about his neck. It's going to be a lot harder to run the pipe on me when I'm strangling you. So he ditches control over the leg. I pull my leg back. I managed to snap him down. It'd be good. I showed this to Rush, I think later that evening, maybe even after this roll. But when you get caught here with your head on the outside, there's a really good counter. I know Tonin loves to do it. It has its origins in gi. But for no gi, your left hand is going to go up and post, like take a V post on the tricep above my shoulder, and you're going to sit through. It's like a standing sit through, and you need to turn 180 degrees, and like, you know, it would end with Rush looking this way, but what it does is it puts my arm into a really bad Kimura position with your whole body putting it there, not just like a standard Kimura where you take your arms and bend a guy's arm. You're using the momentum of your whole body. So it's a good way when you get stuck and you need to bail out, you can still salvage a takedown that isn't the single leg. It's I believe it's called an Udi Geishi, if anybody wants to look that up. But really good way to salvage that when you feel like you're in too much trouble from a front headlock. Ooh, Caleb.
Very nice armbar from the back. I really like that. He's very well distributed on Steven's back here. And I know Steven was probably trying to turn and get his arm back, you know, tucking it in, but
that's so long, so far away.
Exactly. Just a lot to deal with.
Yeah, and then so even here, just to contrast to Duncan's armbar, there is again, I'm not a huge fan of the leg configuration. Actually, you know what? This isn't bad. He's got influence over Steven's head and shoulders here, which is the most important thing. I'm trying to think. I would ideally opt to point my knees in the other direction and break over the right hip. So if you're breaking in a traditional armbar, if you're gonna break someone's right arm, I want you to break it over your right hip. If you're breaking the left arm, break it over the left hip. If we're talking about triangle armbars, that stuff, it's going to be the opposite. But traditionally, you're going to get a much better fulcrum over the right hip. And then, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I need to think about that knee position. Wrist control was 100. Steven was getting spicy. Had to work quick. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's I'm glad you mentioned his wrist control, because that definitely sums up why it was a lot harder for you to get out of that one. You can buy so much time, like, there we go, just like twisting your wrist and keeping him from like controlling your thumb or where your thumb is pointing. What the hell just happened? Duncan's like, yes, got a heel hook on a 15-year-old white belt. Camden with the guard pull. Oh yeah, so if anybody wants a quick tutorial on the Udi Geishi that I was talking about, you look at Rush and I up here at the top. So leave my head on the outside, turning my body completely, lowering my head to the mat, and I could put him down. Or he could stay put and get his shoulder torqued really bad. So you see he puts his hand above my elbow, puts it on the tricep, steps through, pops me down. Gonna be hard to stop a guy's full body when he's trying to sit through. I'm just gonna fast forward. I don't think, yeah, this works good. Double. 2 points.
Just kept running them down. That was awesome.
Oh, I think Jason and I roll through this round. Joe bringing that leg down immediately, seeing the danger. Joe, when you are, so you're here briefly, if you want Steven to not have his hands on you, you can use that butterfly hook you have to bump him forward, right? Get him off balance, kind of just extend your leg, make him lurch forward and have to put his hands on the mat.
If his hands are on the mat, then his feet are light. That's what Danaher likes to say, right? So by getting somebody's hands on the mat, then you have full access to their legs, whether it's lifting or just entering into the legs and starting to shoot for leg attacks.
Absolutely. And not getting your back taken and then getting strangled.
Yeah.
Actually, let's just kind of happen quickly. How did Steven get there?
Push the knee down and circled around, beat them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is one inherent risk with even De La Riva, right? So you could see the V grip that Steven has. I think it's his left hand is actually posting on the top of the knee, pushes it down, and then probably an arm drag from here to try and get around the back.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's a gift wrap.
Way to
Good.
spoil it, Joe.
Yeah, right? Come on. The rest of us haven't seen this movie. That's good. Steven gets out of my strangles too frequently, so I'm glad to see him totally losing on his.
Way to get to your side. Steven's just chilling, waiting for you to screw up.
Oh, they rolled through the round too. Oh, yeah, I guess we both started late.
Awesome. Hands on hips. Beautiful. Well done, Joe. He was just about to kip, and Steven knew that he was going to get out, so he got around. That was good. That was a good exchange.
Yeah, I want to see if Steve. I want to see if he could beat these legs. If he could wedge underneath Joe's legs here, he's gonna have to get both of his legs on the same side. What was that?
Or crawling straight up, like he kind of settled down and tried to sit on top of the knees.
Mm-hmm.
Joe's very heavy on the shoulders and the head, so that's really saving him at the moment. Looking for Kimuras. So Joe, you probably know this. It looks like you do, or maybe you just catch them. But in order for you to catch a Kimura, it means that Steven's head has to go on the other side of your body, right? So you have to have your head on the side of the arm that you're attacking, and his head has to be on the opposite side. Like, if his head was on the right-hand side of your body, I'm sorry, the left-hand side of your body when you're attacking, you would not be able to make that grip. You have to have the head and the arm isolated from one another. So his head is on the other side of his body when he starts stepping around, which means that you have the Kimura grip. Now he pulled the Matt Serra on you. The Matt Hughes versus George St. Pierre. So this was Matt Hughes versus George St. Pierre. This is what Matt did to George to get, I think, one of his only losses in the UFC, right?
Yeah, George lost to Matt Hughes and Matt Serra. That was a slick little reversal.
Yep.
That again. So Steven hiding his leg with his arm here, trying to bide time to slip the elbow, and then once he does slip the elbow, your Kimura is now his Kimura.
Yeah, no, that's
learned him up. That was solid. Joe looks really demoralized.
Yeah, for that particular, for the move that the movement you're trying to do here with that Kimura trap, Joe, is like when somebody, there's a difference between pulling in tight with the Kimura and extending away, right? Like if you're in that side position, you have to be extending away and shoving their hand into their belly in order for you to have a good Kimura trap. If you start pulling in, then it leads to things like this.
Yeah.
Or what just happened.
See some hip switching here, Steven, to deal with those frames.
So also, and yes, so hip switching 100%. The second is pinning of the arms. I don't know. I'm like, if you've seen me do some things like into north south, what I do is, like, for instance, your right knee can come onto the inside of the left armpit / bicep of Joe, and you can start using that to begin the hip switch, because a lot of times when you get here and you've got a person with two hands on your hips, when you go to hip switch, they're pretty equally balanced, right? So especially a stronger dude that's kind of fresh. Joe's not necessarily fresh, but he's always strong, right? So like he's able to hold you up and move with those hips. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to use my knees in order to pin into the biceps of Joe here, and then I'll begin the hip switch. You know, so I would use my right knee into the bicep, cut my left hip back to strip the grip, and then I can settle and start working into my north-south.
Just another way of winning inside position, right? Kind of the
exactly
big overarching theme.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb with the Caleb takedown. It's the overhook. I feel like as soon as Caleb knows he has that overhook, he's gonna hit that.
I get into a panic mode when he does that to me.
Nice, Steven. So Joe, I appreciate where your head's at here. It looks like you're thinking, all right, he's attacking my legs, let me counter attack his. Well, let me counterattack him, and then, like, what are my only options here? Well, I see his feet. Let me attack his feet. Problem is, you don't. He's got a lot more influence over the entirety of your legs, because he could see your hips, or he could kind of pin your hips here. So he has much better options. for you right there, I would try to focus your best on keeping your leg safe until you can get him off of this like reverse mount that he's in. Because no matter what you lock up here, you might be able to find like some cheeky little toe hold or something, but Steven's always going to have the ability to straighten out. Meanwhile, he has much better counters on you here. So the idea of attacking him to prevent his attack, I know where that's coming from. That's just you were just in kind of a bad spot where that wasn't the first option you should work. But that's just going to take you like probably being put there again and recognizing it. Caleb getting mobile. Oh, to the camel clutch. Nice. Let's look at what Caleb does here. So I think off of that takedown, let's see. We'll just zoom through it. So takedown, side control, knee on belly, switches to the other side. See, he goes from here, switches around, pins him again, knee on belly, switches back around to the other side. Oh, this time going over the legs rather than the head.
Yep.
Sits into Kesa to the camel clutch. Really, really good mobility there, man. I know we've been talking a lot about that, so I like that you're feeling comfortable, especially on Duncan, who's not exactly like, he doesn't have short limbs, right? He can reach up and tangle your legs up with his, but it looks like you're feeling confident with your leg work there and pummeling over the head, pummeling over the legs, switching sides. It's really, really solid. I think I caught, oh yeah, I got a little mandible strangle on Jason there, I think. A hard fought strangle. Steven working the over-under pass. Joe almost recovered that. That was a little Bertram Nasty shoulder choke there from Caleb.
Yep. Almost like a Von Flu though, right?
Oh yeah, maybe. Did yeah, you're 100% right. I didn't even see that.
Damn, that looks terrible.
Yeah. Good eye, Caleb. Cole looking ready to pounce. Joe's cheese grating Steven's face against his abs. Let me just try to break his nose. Duncan ain't no bitch, man. Dude, I get into some really, I don't know, some good stand-up battles with Pat, I feel like.
Me too.
Like, he's a hard guy to take down.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb. Get right to it. Again, with the overhook, hits it. That was slick. He fell right into his, right into his signature strangle. I'm so glad Brandon is able to laugh that off. I'd be so pissed. That was slick, man. That looked really good. Hey, Pat.
They could say Inagi there. Yeah.
Where that oh, we just hit one.
Yeah,
Kind of, yeah.
yeah. It's not a Seonagi, but it's the.
It's like off
you
to
know,
the side.
single one. Yeah, the single one. I think that's what he was talking about. I did overhook only. This one was like an over/under hook on the same side.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what Steven does with this Kimura trap.
Yeah. So he still has the bottom leg hooked. Okay.
Okay. All
Use
right.
it for the sweep.
Yep.
Is that Kyle he's going against?
No, he's.
Or is
going
that
with
Duncan? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think Kyle left a while ago.
Every time Cole does the jujitsu handshake, he feels like he's trying to break your knuckles.
I've told him that. It's like
Bloody knuckles.
It's like my hand isn't drywall. Why are you trying to punch through it?
Yeah.
Yoko Wakari with the modified grip. Okay. Dude, I'm so glad we have a fucking judo black belt watching.
Yeah.
Good.
I
So
really like that handle too. Like
yeah.
water.
So was it even further back? It must have been further back. Oh wait, so that's the okay, yeah. And then he hit this one here. I had a feeling it was a Yoko something, but I didn't know if a Yoko Seonagi was a thing. Did I skip over a bunch of stuff? Steven's in on a leg here. I'm so
I think
lost.
that's where you got the reversal from the.
Oh yeah, okay, here we go.
More.
Pinball, I don't know if you ever saw any of our previous streams where our students were harassing us for our use of our you know, somewhat informed use of like the Japanese terminology. So I'm gonna make you like a VIP or something, whatever that means on Twitch. Just to stick it to our own students who don't appreciate it. Yeah, you better put that T on the end of that. Caleb with the Katagatame.
Yep.
And I'm not going to say what it is in English. God, Duncan, you're getting like closer and closer to working a good counter to the standing guard break. I see you every single stream working that a little bit better and better each time. Don't give him that knee bar.
Let's see what he does with this knee bar. He's got his arms through.
Switches a toe hold.
Right.
Good crossface.
Hell yeah.
Solid.
That's what I like to see.
Oh, look at that defense right to mount.
Nice. Steven, did you let up on that knee bar? It looked like you may have let up a little bit on it. Or maybe you just didn't have the right grip on it. I couldn't tell.
Or Duncan's just been doing his hamstring curls
Well, that's it, man.
for the girls. What are you doing to poor Brandon? Now you're just toying with him.
Okay.
Fine,
Alright, you just kept
awesome.
playing until you lost it.
Baiting the mercy grips. I assume, Steven, you're really letting Brandon do a lot of work here, which I appreciate considering the very aggressive start to this round. But yeah, there were a lot of opportunities. I hope you know that you had there in a few of those positions. We don't have to go back. Coach and Brandon through how to hide it.
Very nice mount. I really like how you waited until Cole's elbow was higher than his shoulder or around the shoulder to begin the mount. That was really good.
Missed it. Let's see it again.
So he's got the knee on belly, but then he's scooping that elbow, comes all the way up, and then takes a nice high mount right from the start. That's what I like to see.
Caleb was telling me about this. How he's like, man, I had Cole in the figure four, like in the Kimura, ready to go. It's like I get to where I was about to finish it, and he just straightened his arm out. And I'm like,
can you go back to it real quick? I want to see.
Don't cry to me about it. I feel like Cole's done that to all of us.
All right, so if you don't want him to straighten his arm out, number one, you have to use your left, like in this position, your left hand has to be further down to his wrist or even down to his knuckle line, especially with Cole. Like you have to make that a high priority.
Yeah.
And you know, you'll probably, like, if we were talking, you'd probably be like, oh, that's as far as my arm can go down. Yeah, that was, if you keep it in that position. I want to see your shoulder, your left shoulder dropping down to the mat, your head going down to the mat, so that you can shoot your arm in as deep as possible to make that connection. Once you get it pulled in, your next goal is to get your right elbow down to the mat. So that, like in that order, right? So you need to have as low of a connection down to the knuckle line, right, as possible for one. The wrist is as high up as I want you to be able to go here. So that's step number one. Step number two, in order for you to even get his hand realistically behind his back, you need your right elbow down. If your right elbow is above his midsection, in fact, if it's above his back, he will have a tremendous amount of power for him to be able to use his shoulder and extend his arm. But once his hand goes behind his back, it becomes an impingement point and very difficult for him to extend his arm. I know you're fighting like hell from here, and that's a result of just a relatively high grip like on the forearm.
Yeah, and getting the elbow, in this case, your left elbow, get it down towards Cole's elbow too, and then everything you just said, Mike, will help. Like Caleb and I talked about this too when he transitioned to off, not hanging out in side control, but going up to where he would have, in this case, his left leg stepped over the head, right, to elicit control over Cole's head and shoulders. So everything you just said would make it much higher percentage that you would get to that position, because Cole would not have easily straightened out of this. You wouldn't have been focused on fighting the grip, because that would have been, mechanically sound, and you could have focused on moving your legs up. So it all kind of feeds into, the next step in the control for the Kimura.
But yeah, Cole's a beast. I like how you're going back to that head and arm type position with a strong. You're going into a cross face, or I'm hoping, yeah. So you're going into this cross face, making a solid connection here, trying to get his elbow up nice and high again, and then that's what I want to see. You're not mounting until you feel comfortable that you can get your knee up really high into that armpit. Steve, no full mount here. Okay, that's a consequence of rolling with somebody like him.
Yeah, right.
He's powerful, and that was well timed.
I like your shoulder crunch finish, Steven, on that.
Are you going over arm bars with Joe at the top?
No, we were talking about mount goals.
Oh, okay.
Like getting the arm over the head or getting the elbow above the shoulder line, all that stuff. Just giving them ways to do that. I think a lot of people when they get to mount, especially early on. I mean, hell, I think you and I probably had the conversation plenty of times back at Blue Belt about like what to do when you get to mount and why we didn't hang out there much, and me blaming it on being a lighter guy when really it was just like I didn't have good objectives and everything. So
I felt like that was purple belt too, right?
yeah, right. Yeah, it's a recent development that I feel confident there, or somewhat confident.
Yeah.
Clash of the Titans. Drive. Nice, Pat.
Very nice.
Good sprawl. Keeps the legs at bay. Gets that cross face. Puts him on his back. And Caleb knew that we'd talk about it. Oh, Brandon, that's like, it never stops too, man.
Story of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Which is a good thing, right? That's what I really love about the sport. Pinball, I'm actually curious, for you with your judo background, like I don't know how I feel about like a defined number of moves in like the Kodokan, that tell me if I'm wrong, but like you have to like know whatever 64 of them or whatever it is, to like ascend through the ranks. And like, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm totally wrong about that. But I always like the contrast against jiu-jitsu, where it's, at least at our school, we can tell when people are getting better and they're belted accordingly to their skill level. There's not quite a checklist sort of mentality to jiu-jitsu that's kind of nice. All that to say, when you get to black belt, you still just have an infinite amount of things to learn. Pat's knee was hurting and it felt torqued. Well, that was very kind of you.
Yeah.
So I dug in on it again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so you go for a knee breaker.
They're technical and competitive passive promotion. Okay.
Okay, so you can get judged on like randori or how well you do in competition, as well as like technique demonstration. I had no idea. Like it's completely new to me.
Yeah. Oh, you're a saint, Caleb. Cole making some great moves around Jason here. I like Cole's use of various mounts to stay mounted, and then utilizing, Cole told me this after this roll, but utilizing exactly what we were just talking about in order to open up arms, which we all know it's damn near impossible with Jason. He uses the approach of bugging the neck. So we just saw him a second ago go forearm on the neck, and watch Jason's left arm immediately comes up, and that's an opportunity for Cole to work an underhook. I don't think he gets it here. He tries to slip down for it. It gets damn close. Jason was just able to slip it out.
Mm-hmm. Pinball, that's actually fascinating. Like I had no idea that was a thing. That's cool. Thanks for telling us.
Damn. Yeah, I didn't know that. I appreciate like the fact that there is like an academic kind of side to it, like almost a curriculum.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I follow like a bunch of judo channels on Instagram. Like, there's nothing like just the cleanest judo throw. Like, it all looks so beautiful when it's done at that high level.
Yeah. How's your knee today, Pat?
Yeah, what just happened?
Americana.
Oh, okay. And again, Cole still hasn't, he hasn't necessarily isolated an arm or like worked to anything yet, but Jason's a formidable opponent, and Cole's doing a good job of retaining mount, which is a skill in and of itself. Definitely an important one to work on. Big change from judo, just get promoted out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And some schools do that, just going straight from white to blue, and so on. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't know how I've always gone through the stripe system, but then again, I've also gotten 2 or 3 stripes at a time in some cases too. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
one way or the other.
Like my feelings on it are that it's like, first off, stripes are great for kids programs, especially like kids really respond well to that sort of like positive enforcement and progress. I feel like that's an important thing to like help keep them engaged. I personally couldn't care less about stripes, and I've felt that way. I felt more strongly that way the deeper I get into it. I don't know. I've said it on here before. I'll say it again. Like, what I love most about our school is that all the coaches roll with all the students. We're not, we don't test you guys and make sure that these specific moves or whatever. We actually feel you guys getting better and better in your execution, over a period of time, and there's no better substitute for measuring progress, in my opinion. Having a black belt, let you work, beat your ass, see how your defense is, all that stuff. There's no better way to do it. If we went away from stripes all of a sudden, I can't say I'd be too upset. I imagine some of the lower belts might not dig it, but
yeah, I think you're right. I think the lower you are, the more progress you want to be able to see. The higher you are, the more it just doesn't matter.
Yeah. Just want to see what Caleb did there.
Kind of like a tripod sweep, but
yeah, it was
combined. I haven't seen.
That's basically a tripod sweep. I mean, he's got.
Yeah, without the foot on the hip, right?
Yeah. That's interesting. One more time. Because he digs on the left ankle, hooks behind the right ankle, and just pushes.
Yeah.
Clever.
Yeah, go on.
It's an amazing heel hook here. Yeah, that's one thing I kind of like about Sambo. Is they don't even have belts. And then, like, when you reach the highest level, you're called, like, Master of Sport or something like that, which just sounds kind of badass.
I thought Caleb was going to go for a can opener. Instead, he goes for the old muffler.
Classic Caleb.
Alright, so standing guard break on Steven. Being very cautious here. He knows what he's supposed to be doing, but he doesn't want to do it. Yep.
Didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
Steven, did we miss your buggy choke? Was that in? I thought you said that was on Monday. Look at that. Damn. That was dope, dude. So
In on a cross ashi.
Yeah.
Goes and grabs the far leg, so he winds up getting double trouble immediately.
And then switches. Ah, that was sick.
Damn.
Switches to like the backside. Damn, dude, that was sick.
Yeah. But then it was like the Mikey lock. Like, wasn't that a? Because I didn't see him do an overhand grip. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. It went fast. All right, so cross Ashi.
But even, I mean, is that cross?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now he grabs the secondary leg, pulls him down. Now he leaves his left leg where it is because it doesn't have to move. Reaps on that one, okay, and then and then he has like
toes in the ear.
In his ear, and he's up like that instead of in the armpit. So it's more like the Mikey. I mean, it's not the Mikey lock, and it's not the traditional, but it's more like the Mikey lock than it is the traditional.
I want to do this. I'm gonna be at class tomorrow, and I want to try this.
Sweet.
And I'm also not training gi after class. I'm training no gi for the comp. So
I was gonna say, like, anybody who's coming to class, bring your no gi stuff because I'm teaching tomorrow, and I would want to teach no gi. So.
Are you gonna do gi class and then no gi open mat, or?
I'm probably gonna pull a Bertram and just say take off the gi top and.
Yeah. Whatever. It's legs week.
Yep. And anybody who wants to train gi can train gi after class.
God, that was a sick finish. Okay, Steven said the buggy choke was the second round. I want to go back and find that before we call it. Running a little late here. So thanks for sticking around with us, guys. The longer I do this, the less I want to train gi.
No, yeah, dude, my fingers hurt even thinking about it.
All right, let's go back real quick. So this first round, it's the second round, Steven and Rush. Okay, I see you guys. And I think you said it was at the end of the round, right?
Looks like it could be right here.
I think it's up. Here we go. Nice. And Rush is trying to answer the phone to stave it off. Let's see. Yeah, so
that is, yeah.
The thing about the buggy choke that you got to remember, like we talked about this, I think on the last stream, how answering the phone on the head and arm, you know, if the arm's really tight, if the attacker has his arm really tight around the neck, you bulldoze right through it. It's not much of a defense. Now imagine if that guy's arms have the strength of his legs. That's the buggy choke, right? So the answering the phone defense here isn't really going to buy you much time. You know, really, like, I haven't worked out, because we don't have to deal with this too much. I haven't worked out a good, like, late escape for this. But it's essentially a katagatame, but it's done with the legs, which is pretty awful. Kind of legs on one side, arm on the other, but the squeeze, you know, the torque on this strangle really comes from the legs, I think. So early on, when you feel this coming, like you definitely don't just want to answer the phone and hunker down. Like, you've got to posture up. I know there's some footage of Craig against one of the Rotolo brothers, where he immediately addressed this and postured up and just like created space to where his posture wasn't broken, his shoulder wasn't in his neck, and that was how he
faced Ty.
yeah.
Went against Ty.
Yeah, that's right. More on the hip to finish it quicker. Yeah, sure. I know when the Rotolos have talked about this, they talk about facing, like turning towards the opponent, doing your best to like face into them, almost working from the side.
You want their arm to come up high, right? If their arm comes up high, it shoves the shoulder into the neck.
Yeah.
Just like a katagatame or a standard triangle that we use.
Yeah, you get a lot more engagement out of it. All that though, like Rush was barreling across Steven here, putting a lot of downward pinning pressure on him. So Steven probably couldn't get to that position quite as easily. That's awesome though, man. That was really solid. I think Rush knew he probably didn't have a way out from here. I can't believe you got that tight on it. That was really good. Good stuff.
Yep.
Glad we went back to that. Awesome stream today, guys. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Pinball, thank you for the judo lesson and the Japanese and all that. Please keep coming back. Keep doing that. We really dig it.
Man. Thank you.
So yeah, you're teaching tomorrow?
Yep.
Cool. If you guys don't know, I mean, if you want to learn legs, Mike's the guy to learn it from. Probably learn more about all the things I suck at on legs and all the things I'm good at on legs training with you and constantly getting my legs broken for the last, 5 years?
It's been a minute.
Yeah. Of course, man. You're always welcome here. Follow us here if you're not. We just hit 100 subscribers or 100 followers today with Caleb's help. Thank you, bud. But yeah, follow us here, subscribe here, give us your Twitch Prime, all that good stuff. It helps support the chat, support the stream. We really appreciate it. Follow us over on YouTube as well. Subscribe there, where you guys can rewatch these videos, which I'm definitely going to do to prepare for class tomorrow to try out that heel hook that we saw Steven do. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Steven.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, really good stuff today. That was excellent from everybody. So you know the deal. Trim your nails, do your laundry, and do not be stinky. Get to class tomorrow. Bring your no-gi stuff if you're signing up for the no-gi competition. If you want to train gi, bring your gi too. That's good as well. Anything else? You're teaching tomorrow. I'm teaching Saturday. Yeah, that'll be it. Cool. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night.
Take care.